I love the amount of glee that you have, because I feel like you have to have a level of like demented glee to talk about a movie that within the first 5 minutes, Michael Caine is taking his son to go buy guns. It's just like, what the fuck? This movie sets the fucking tone in a way that like was bizarre to say the least, and off-putting is probably a better phrase.
Oh, this movie speaks to me. It speaks to me.
I mean, you know what? I think I know what you mean, because in a lot of ways, I'm like, if I were them, though, like, I'd kind of be okay with this. Like, just like in the middle of we'll talk about it. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on this episode of the Culture Cast, I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, much to the chagrin of many. And I'm joined by my good friend. He's all the way from somewhere in the Midwest, but he's a professor of film at Northwestern. Northwestern. Turn. Got to put the turn in there.
Yeah.
Where he's shaping young minds through the magic of cinema. Your friend and mine, Spencer Parsons.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
The amount of excitement that you have to talk about this movie, I don't know if I can match it, but I think I can match it with the amount of confusion that I bring to the proceedings. Because to finish Pirate Month, which has been, you were here for the beginning. So
Yeah. I feel like I'm bringing it full circle now because, I'll get to my point about how it comes full circle for me in a moment. But Pirate Month.
What a fucking nightmare this month has been. I've seen one other good movie. It was Pirate Radio, aka The Boat That Rocked, which was fun. But I don't think I've watched a movie as strange as the one we're about to talk about, which is the 1980 adaptation of the 1979 book of the same name, The Island.
For 300 years, a terrifying secret has been kept from the outside world.
Mayday! Mayday! Pirates? I know it sounds crazy, but you better believe me.
The Island, the super thriller from the author of Jaws and The Deep. The Island starts Friday at a theater near you. Rated R.
So the film is directed by Ritchie, who has directed one of my favorite movies, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. Yeah. Directed by Ritchie, based on a screenplay by Peter Benchley, based on his book of the same name, and it stars Michael Caine and David Warner. Michael Caine plays Blair Maynard, a man who is trying to figure out why so many boats disappear in the Bermuda Triangle. Does he find out why? Yes, he does. Does he figure out who? It's David Warner. Does he figure out how? Maybe. Yes. We'll get into the logistics of what is actually going on, but Michael Caine and his son go to the Caribbean, and then they're kidnapped by French pirates. Savage pirates of the Caribbean.
Amazing.
Spencer, glorious filmmaking.
It is. I'm here. I am here to throw down for this movie. I fucking love The Island, and I did not expect it because. So here's something funny. Is last time we talked about this a little bit, that it was coming up in advance. I had it confused with The Deep, another Peter Benchley, which I had seen before. I had not seen The Island, but somehow the two got conflated in my mind. And so I had a wonderful surprise with this batshit insane movie that I think totally deserves a cult. I'm ready to lead the charge for midnight screenings where people bring plastic cutlasses and shout the weird pilot argot that they speak in this movie. Back at the screen, frig. Talking about
God.
Sex, frig. Just absolutely a batshit insane movie. I think so. I like this movie so much. I read the novel to prepare for this. I enjoyed the experience of this because I had to know about some of the mysteries. And so one, I can confirm Peter Benchley is definitely one of the worst novelists ever. The novel of Jaws is terrible. I'm the biggest Jaws fan in the world, but I read that novel when I was a kid and I knew it was bad then. And I know it's bad now. And I just read The Island. And it is also a terrible novel, but it's a terrible novel that provides this amazing, crazy material for Ritchie to go, just absolutely nuts with.
And nuts he goes, because this, I mean, again, like, I wasn't kidding. Michael Caine, 5 minutes into this movie, is going to a gun store with his son to look at guns. And it takes place in this nonchalant world that they're constructing where nothing at any point is bothering anybody, is what it feels like. Like, none of the weird things that are going on, anybody at any point is like, yeah, this is kind of weird. Everyone's just like, yeah, like, we live in a crazy world, apparently, is what it feels like.
And that is straight out of the novel. Like, it's like, maybe instead of 5 minutes, it's like 15 pages into the novel. They're in a gun store. They're having the same kind of interaction. The kid really wants him a gun. It's really bizarre. Like, I thought for sure that part of the weird tone of arriving at the gun store, the way that they do, was a matter of some kind of compression. Like, I knew that Peter Benchley had done the script.
Right.
So I figured, okay, well, this is sort of a, it's Chekhov's gun. This movie has so many Chekhov's guns going on in it. There's also a Chekhov's flare gun that's pretty good. And flare guns are one of those things for seafaring movies that are just like one of the worst tropes, because, like, really seriously, you can't kill with a flare gun, but somehow it always works.
I don't know. I've seen enough of these movies to know that I think you might be wrong. I think you can kill someone with something that's just on fire on the end. No?
Yeah, sure enough. But it's just like, it's just always like, go for the flare gun.
Might be better off just throwing the flare gun at them. Like, take the flare gun and just throw it at them. Like, it would do more harm, possibly.
Exactly. So we've got Chekhov's gun store at the beginning. We know that this is coming back around at the end. But one of the crazy things here too, one of the things that makes Benchley such a bad novelist, and this is the case with this novel as well as with Jaws, he does not fucking know how to end a book to save his life. Like, the end of Jaws is like, basically the shark gets tired and dies. Like, right. That's the end of the novel. Is it like the shark is, spoilers if you haven't read the novel, like, the shark has taken out Quint. It's taken out Matt Hooper in a kind of spectacularly gnarly way, and only Chief Brody is left on a sinking orca, and then the shark just dies. No wonder Steven Spielberg had to blow it up. Like, come up with the thing with the air tank and whatnot, because it's just like, and it's not a kind of, it's just a kind of ending that doesn't make any sense. Similarly here, he's setting up with this like trip to the gun store, and the gun does play into the ending, but it doesn't play into the ending nearly as well as it does in the movie. Like, I don't know whether Peter Benchley ironed it out or Michael Ritchie came up with the right idea, though I do think that the gun moment at the end that's key is definitely has the Michael Ritchie touch of the kid being backed by an American flag. And I guess we'll come back to this in a minute. So it has a Michael Ritchie touch to it that's very much like, Bad News Bears kind of territory, but now with like dangerous firearms. But yeah, so this movie has it's still kind of a wonky ending, but it's a much better ending than the book. Like, if you think the ending to the movie of The Island is bad, well, just buckle up, because the ending to the book, it has many of the same elements, but is just a disaster. Just totally doesn't work. Feels anticlimactic. Like, how did we end up here? Did you even know what this story was about? Did you just like stop typing at a certain point and decide that was the end?
Well, and you know what? That is the thing about this movie that, just to jump to the ending, which I think the ending has like notes of other things that you've seen before, but it feels like a very like neutered version of it. Like, in a lot of ways, it's like, oh, we finally, the moment where he gets to turn his aggression on everybody else. It's like, and this is it. It's just like a bunch of morons standing on the deck of a boat, letting themselves be murdered by this guy. It's like, it is the equivalent of the Jaws ending in that book. I do remember the ending of Jaws where it's like the shark's just taking too much damage, and it's just like, okay, like, fucking fuck it, this unstoppable threat dies to this. Like,
I mean, it's sort of, there's a level, at least in the ending of Jaws, there's a level of realism, but it just does not feel like the writer is commanding the sort of realism of, okay, you fought with the shark, it fought back a lot, and now it's just going to die. But it just does not have the sense that he knows what it means for the shark to die in this way or to leave off at this point or, anything. I mean, it's very similar with The Island. So I guess, like, just to back up, this movie has the craziest sort of tone. And one of the things that makes me like about it is that, and on the basis of reading the book and having seen the movie and rewatched parts of the movie in prep, I'm going to throw down that while Michael Ritchie is no Paul Verhoeven, and Peter Benchley is certainly no Robert Heinlein, the sort of subversion of somebody else's story here reminds me a little bit of Starship Troopers. Believe me, Starship Troopers is a masterpiece. I'm not comparing this in a way to say that, like, this is as good as Starship Troopers. This is definitely not as good as Starship Troopers. So don't misunderstand me in that way. However, when Verhoeven did Starship Troopers, he and Ed Neumeyer took this Heinlein novel, which was super freaking fascist, and they turned it into a satire against creeping fascism, in the United States at the time. And so it's a really, really, brilliant subversion of a text that was straightforward fascist, like not sort of crypto fascist. No. Like the fascist lessons are right in there in the Heinlein, and Verhoeven and Neumeyer transported them in. Well, so you got this Benchley novel that's about pirates that have somehow, this band of pirates that has survived to the modern era, and begins with a scene where a father and son go to buy a gun right after, by the way, the father has basically absconded to another state with his child. He has, this is a kidnapping story, which I actually think is like key to the whole thing. And I'm just not sure that Benchley is aware of what's going on, but I do think that Michael Ritchie is aware of what's going on in the way that this goes. And I think Michael Ritchie is at once sort of, yes, he's bringing actually some pretty well-staged action to bear throughout the film. And there are like some really nice gory effects going on. And apparently Stan Winston, worked on this fairly early. So Ritchie is going in for the gore and for the action, but he's like twisting this in the direction of being like, kind of I don't quite want to say satire because I don't know that it has a firm object that it's satirizing, but a kind of black comedy of like, American life in the late 70s. I think there really is, I think there is a great through line from like Bad News Bears and Smile into this movie, which is completely batshit. And I think that there's evidence within the film that he really means to do this. And I'm going to throw down, okay, spoiler alert for everybody out there, but I don't think you can really spoil this movie because it's so freaking insane while you're watching it. The Kung Fu interlude. Can we talk about the Kung Fu interlude for a moment?
Yeah, let's please.
So the Kung Fu interlude, not in the book. It was like one of the first things I looked for. I'm like, okay, I got to go to where they raid the schooner. So they raid a schooner full of hippie drug dealers who've got a boat full of cocaine, and they and like they take over the boat. And there's a really interesting, one of the more interesting things that I think Benchley is up to, where he's trying to make a kind of point about modern criminality versus old criminality, where the pirates have this booty, they have this amazing treasure of cocaine, and they have no clue what it is. And they throw it all overboard as the hippies are like, wait, that's worth thousands of dollars. You could you could take it. Like the hippies just want to save their lives, but the pirates are here to kill the hippies, take anything they can from the ship, burn it down, all this stuff, and they just hurl all the cocaine overboard. Well, so Michael Ritchie does an amazing thing with this, where there's a coked up crew member, and I have to assume that he's coked up because it's the only shred of sense to the entire sequence. There's a coked up crew member in a blue Speedo who arrives to try to fight the pirates off with Kung Fu, making all of these horrible fake Bruce Lee imitating sounds as he's, punching and chopping and kicking his way towards his very certain death. I mean, this guy is not going to survive.
Well, it's one of those scenes where they all stand back and they let, they're like, oh, we'll let, whoever wants to fight him, go for it. But we're just all like you said, there's no way that this guy gets out of this situation one way or another.
Well, and this is one of the things I love about these pirates is that David Warner is this perfect pirate king who is constantly, it's not just at this moment, this is the big one in the movie, but at many different points throughout the film, he stops people from committing violence or doing anything because let's just see how this plays out. It's like David Warner is kind of like a snarky audience member who is going, no, wait a second, it's gotten a little crazy. I just want to watch and see where this goes.
I love David Warner in this movie. He's
so good.
I mean, he's great in everything, right? But in this, I feel like without him in this movie,
it doesn't work.
No, his commitment to the role of now is, again, it takes that kind of actor. And I would even go as far as to say Michael Caine the same way. The role that Michael Caine is playing is the most Michael Caine role I've ever seen him play. It's so Michael Caine in every sense of the word. What he's doing in the movie is very much it doesn't feel like an affectation of the expectations of him as an actor, but they were just be the most British dickhead possible. Do that. And there you go.
It's clearly, so one of the things I love about Michael Caine in this movie is this is in a long line of Michael Caine roles where he just shows up for the money. And there was a lot of money put into this film. This is a $22 million movie in 1970s dollars. That is a really big budget. And this was a major flop. This was a major failure at the time because it cost that much money. And Michael Caine shows up and he is just doing his usual Michael Caine collecting the paycheck level best. And this is why Michael Caine is my favorite ever Oscar winner. I do not give a shit for the Oscars, but one thing I love about the Oscars is Michael Caine won an Oscar while on set for Jaws: The Revenge. That's my Michael Caine. That's the Oscars I want to believe in. Because he is just clearly Michael Caine's an amazing actor, but he is totally willing to be in all kinds of slummy films. I mean, he's in Blame It on Rio. He's in all kinds of terrible films.
In On Deadly Ground.
Yes.
With shoe polish black hair opposite Steven Seagal. And he has said in an interview, I did it for the money, but I could have picked a better place to be because they were in the middle of fucking Alaska. Motherfucker took the Jaws job because he got to be in the fucking Caribbean and they were paying him to be there. I would take that job too. Wouldn't
Absolutely.
you? Be stupid not to.
So it's Michael Caine doing that, and then it's David Warner. And David Warner, great villain. I mean, obviously he played so many villains, but this is one where David Warner's presence, and this is also part of why I really love the movie. It's not just that he holds it together; it's that he tips the balance of the film just completely towards the pirates.
Right.
There's a certain point at which I am not rooting for Michael Caine anymore at all. I'm rooting for the pirates, but the story is more interesting having Michael Caine around to continue trying to get away or whatever, so the pirates can do as much shit as the pirates are going to do. I'm totally on the side of the pirates for the latter part of this film. And so is the score. Ennio Morricone's score. Every time the pirates are going out to the beginning, it's played as horror when the pirates murder people and stuff. Right. But then part of the way through, when Michael Caine is along and they attack this schooner, or they go in and they attack the Coast Guard, Ennio Morricone's music turns into jaunty seafaring music. That's this is really fun, as heads are getting lopped off and cutlasses go through arms and blood splatters everywhere. And there's some really good gore that happens throughout this movie, and the tone just completely shifts. The tone is completely shifted in this bizarre direction where the pirates are obviously horrible. They're doing terrible things. They are just murdering people flat out, and the music is rooting for them all the way, which is, of course, beautiful in Italian style. And I'm so glad that Ennio Morricone was allowed to bring that kind of Italian cockeyed going against the emotional grain sort of energy to this, and that Michael Ritchie let him do it.
Well, and I think honestly, that's maybe my biggest problem with this movie is the stuff when they get to the island with all of the pirates is a lot of fun, and it's super weird. And again, like it's just tonally at odds with the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie. And I think that the first 30 minutes of the movie don't work very well because it's trying to be a horror movie. I mean, the poster is trying to be a horror movie this summer. Most terrifying thing in the water is the island. What fucking movie are you advertising? Like, not this one. Like,
no, they did not.
This one at all. Because this should it shouldn't have. I'm not saying it should be like a high seas adventure because again, like a lot of the pirates are pieces of shit. But like, can we revel in the fact that their pirates are pirates in this movie? They're unabashedly pirates. Like that's this is the first movie this month that doesn't feel like it's ashamed of the fact that there are pirates in it.
Well, and to be frank, going back to Roman Polanski's Pirates, this is the movie I wanted from Roman Polanski's Pirates.
Exactly.
This is the movie that I wanted. The kind of gritty, weird, so one of the things about it, the casting of all these pirates, and even the way that like David Warner is sort of presented, like he's sort of the big star among the pirates. But this is a band of pirates that have body types and like scars and toothlessness and all this stuff that is not allowed in American cinema. And especially now, like if you made this movie now, all these pirates, however old they would have all been to the gym. And this is
Zoe Saldana was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Don't forget, like good looking Zoe Saldana. Like she can't hold a candle to Don Henderson. Okay. No,
so it's just like, this is the rattiest, gnarliest band of pirates. And they're stealing children in order to like, juice their gene pool, which I love. And, that's they're bringing in the new blood. They've also got some kind of wacky religion where there's like prophecy around the kids that they're pulling in, and the kids are all down. So this is another connection with Bad News Bears. The kids are totally down for going off with the pirates, even though the pirates are completely bloodthirsty and horrible and ugly and like physically repellent. Like the kid, I love that. I love that like every one of these kids is just absolutely with the pirates. The biggest conflict between kids in this movie is with each other in this movie, where like one of them is like, "Hey, I thought I was the new pirate kid," when there's another one that's come along, and so there's this like little bit of treachery among the kids. But they're sort of like they're like the dark, nasty version of the Bad News Bears, who are frankly, like for a lot of cinema, the dark, nasty version of a lot of like normal suburban kids. So it's like, Ritchie's taking the opportunity to take it even that much farther. And in particular, the son, he does not have a lot to work with for the script. He does not have a great amount of screen time. His change doesn't really make any sense, from like kind of grudging going along with dad on this adventure to like, "I hate you, dad, I'm joining the pirates." There's like, there is no change that you witness. There's simply like two different scenes where he's behaving in different ways. But nevertheless, Ritchie is actually drawing out a kind of wonderful performance from this kid who just from the first minute in the film is so he's so snide to his dad, like right out of the gate. He's like introduced reading a Playboy,
which is a great introduction.
Oh, fantastic introduction. And again, so 70s. So the kid's introduced like, reading a Playboy, and he's like snarky with his dad, and like their big bonding moment is like going to buy a gun. And the dad's just, I mean, like Michael Caine's not even really bonding. He's just trying. He's sort of like, "Okay, kid, I'll give you the gun if you want it. Maybe you'll love me if I buy you the gun." And then after they get the gun, it's clear the kid still doesn't love his dad, is not really going to love his dad, but then makes this hard turn into this like kind of snarling little beast who like really fucking hates, Michael Caine. And I love that. I love how that runs through this. And again, it's like what I wanted out of the Roman Polanski Pirates. The kid, that kid in Pirates ultimately has no purpose whatsoever except to kind of run around with that one girl. But in this movie, the kid is like sort of key in this like nightmare that Michael Caine is having about being a bad father.
And he is a bad father. Like, that's the
He's a
thing.
terrible
Like,
father.
He's God, I hate when this alarm goes off. He is the absolute worst father. Like, without a doubt. Like, he is a terrible father. I mean, for his son, that's the other thing. Like, you completely understand why his son acts the way that he does in this movie. Like,
yes,
because again, like I was saying, like Michael Caine's such a stodgy dick. In like it really is that. Like, when I say stodgy dick, it's almost like you exactly said. Like, this is the role that he was doing for the longest time when anybody wanted him to just show up. Like, just be British, be a British dickhead. Like, and here you go. Because this character he's playing in this movie, it's not too dissimilar from the character he plays in Jaws. Like, it just like that same, just like, you're British, be British. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like.
The one difference is that, like, in Jaws: The Revenge, when he falls into the water, it's like a stunt person who falls into the water, and then when he climbs back out, he's dry by the time he's back in the boat. That's like one of my favorite Jaws 4 things, where it's clearly like Michael Caine will only take things so far. Whereas in The Island, Michael Caine goes into the water, he climbs out of the water, he does all these like kind of, try hard stunts and everything. But this is a level where, like, I don't know, like maybe, Benchley's obviously like a smart guy, and all of his books are predicated on some research, so like he really researched great whites and cannot wait to show off his research about them in Jaws, and did the same thing in like White Shark. And I have also read, I'm forgetting A Beast, his giant squid book. And that's just full of like, I went to research giant squids as much as possible. And so the characters don't make any sense. The action doesn't make any sense, but there's all this like weird sort of scientific stuff about squid. And then similarly, he's really researched, pirates and piracy. And he's thinking about what would it be like for pirates to live now. And he doesn't really have like a handle on the story. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's subliminal to him. Maybe he intended it. But there's a kind of wonderful symmetry of like the dad abducts his own kid, then has his kid abducted by David Warner, who plays now, and sort of taken in with the pirates. And it's this nightmare of being a bad father. And it ultimately could be. And, the movie probably would have failed even harder if it had the ending that I want for it, which is the kid should shoot Michael Caine in the head at the end and go off with now. Like, that's what the whole movie's been working up to.
Oh, was that not the ending is my question.
There's no way a studio allows such a thing. There's
in
no
1979, 1980, sure. Now, I think they would.
You think? I think they were more likely to allow it in 1979 or 80. That's interesting.
I guess, I mean, I could see you making the case either way. I think now it's like, there's so many places that you could put it. Like, I don't think there'd be anybody who would raise an eyebrow. But at the same time, like, yeah, like the 70s is rife with like people experimenting and not taking the usual way out of a narrative, the expected Western happy ending, which the movie doesn't earn its happy ending. Like, it's an ending for a different movie, completely different movie.
Well, and I think Michael Ritchie even knows that, because it's interesting. Like the moment at the end where father and son are sort of reunited does not play as that happy. Like Michael Caine gets there and he rescues the kid, but the movie's not suggesting that it's going to be okay between him and the kid. And then there's this strange coda. I love this coda where like we cut away from Michael Caine and the kid to like looking through some kind of window on the boat, to see a helicopter outside, and we get this dialogue between the helicopter and another Coast Guard vessel or whatever, and they have this funny bit of like, there are, it looks like there are pirates aboard, and then the guy on the other goes, pilots? And then he said, no, pirates, not pilots. And so it's this strange thing of just like the final moment before the credits hit. And then the helicopter continues to sit there, just kind of hovering while the credits all go up on the other side of the screen. It's the most bizarre thing ever. The helicopter continues to hover as music plays and the credits play. And these are just characters from outside coming in to comment on how ridiculous the whole movie has been. It's basically like this little coda to say, Now, wasn't that completely batshit insane? And I'm here to go, yes, it was completely batshit insane, and I'm here for it.
No, I'm with you. Like, again, like where the movie ends up going and where the conclusion takes place. And it's, I'm probably going to misspeak, but isn't Dirty Dozen, or is it The Wild Bunch, where at the end it's like a massive like machine gun down? Is that right? That's what it reminded me of. But in that movie, it's earned and they all die. Like, there's got to be some like mutually assured destruction here. And I really thought Michael Caine was going to get lit up as he was lighting up the pirates. Because again,
totally,
it is weird. The movie feels like it's at odds with itself because Michael Caine is in a way the villain of the movie. Again, like villain is like, right. Like a villain is kind of a weird term because he's clearly meant to be the audience surrogate and the hero of the piece, but nothing about him as a character is remotely appealing. He's such an asshole that, I mean, he almost gets his like island wife killed how many times? Like,
I know. And she keeps defending him. It's like, she's also great. I love her performance. She's so weird. And I don't know that she fully makes sense, but the actress is so committed that I'm like, okay, your character doesn't make any sense, but I like you. I like every time you're on screen, I will accept that you are basically a human being playing a device to keep Michael Caine alive throughout this film.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for the actress because she's really like say some words, a couple words, but don't say too much. But like what a thankless role. But like, yeah, like the way he treats her, like it just none of it jibes with me being like, oh yeah, I can sympathize with him. Like, no, I'm kind of just like, you put yourself in this shitty position, moron. Like,
yeah,
you got what you wanted. I like the idea that the explanation of why all the boats disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle are these moron pirates, but
that is a beautiful explanation.
makes the most sense, one might say, or not at all,
or not at all,
or not fucking at all.
That's like, right. I mean, there's this whole Bermuda Triangle thing that's like, and this is so it's a natural explanation to a supposedly supernatural thing, where the natural explanation is actually stupider than the supernatural one would be.
Right. Like to think that, like, because again, like they're ascribing all of the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle to these pirates. And like we mentioned, at one point, a Coast Guard cutter shows up and they overtake them. But imagine if it were a bigger ship, like which they claim to have disappeared. Like, how are those pirates even getting on the ship, guys? Like,
right. Yeah. Well, there's that hulk of a burned up ship that's on screen a bunch of times early on in the film that people like kind of go around, and it's talked about as like, what happened to that? And it's just like floating out there, which is an image I really love. And I think this movie is shot like really beautifully. It has some like really arresting photography. And definitely like the design work and the visuals and how they spend all this money is like convincing us of the world of these pirates. But the world of the pirates is still like totally bonkers. And it's kind of, I mean, again, this is one of the things I really like about the movie. It really, I think that Michael Ritchie went in for the goofy dream logic of it. That like, if you want to read the movie a certain way, the moment that Michael Caine gets hit in the head and passes out before he's like taken to the pirates, I can totally read the rest of the movie as his like crazy fever dream as he's dying because like somebody came aboard his vessel and hit him in the head. The sort of one damn thing after another, like evolving plot of this movie is so weird. And it's the same in the book, but the movie feels. There's a feeling like it's bought into the weirdness as weirdness. It's not oblivious to the weirdness.
Well, and that feels like that extends to like the casting of the pirates, because you have like a bunch of really interesting British character actors, like you said, all playing very unique and distinct, weird looking weirdos, like Frank Middlemass, who's, playing one of the, again, not one of the pirates, but sort of, but Don Henderson and Dudley Sutton and Colin Jeavons, like, just like all of them are so weird looking. Like, like, and again, like David Warner is the least weird looking of all of them, which is saying something.
Yeah, but I think they made him lose some weight or something to do it, which is great. Like, so when he takes off his shirt, he suddenly looks weird looking among these pirates. Like David Warner's face is there. but it's like his ribs are showing a little bit and he's like kind of scrawny. I don't know. Maybe I don't know that I've seen him with his shirt off in another movie. That's just maybe what he looked like. But it's kind of a brilliant thing about like creating the world of these pirates, that they really are rangy and they do look like, they talk about how they're inbred because they would be.
Right.
So they take a bunch of very interesting looking people, push them farther out, like into, real greasy, semi-mutated kind of looking zone. They're all dirty. They're gross, but they're gross in such an amazing and to me, ultimately very, sympathetic way. My sympathy goes to these pirates, and like Michael Caine, why did you have to show up and like basically demolish this band of people who have been living outside of civilization, for centuries? As one of the characters says, this is you've come to an anthropologist's dream, or it's a line that's kind of like that. There's this population that's been preserved since the 1700s. Away from modernity. It's kind of beautiful.
Well, and I like the Frank Middlemass character of Windsor, this kind of, who you meet him as the doctor who, lends Michael Caine, or he's renting his boat to Michael Caine. And then you find out later in the movie, he's actually kind of not the leader of the pirates, but he's kind of like in cahoots with them. I guess he's sending, it seems like he's sending people their way. Right. But I mean, it's this interesting kind of back and forth that he has with Michael Caine, where he's like, why are they not turning on me? Because they see the value of this relationship. And like, ultimately, like, you could too if you just chilled out a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels ultimately like Michael Caine is just too uptight to fit in with the pirates. But like, if I were in this position, like, fuck it. Fuck it. I don't know. Like, yeah, you know what? As life becomes more and more complicated, like, their life looks a hell of a lot more exciting. Like,
well, and that they're genuinely murderous and horrible, like, makes it really interesting. I mean, like, it is like that sort of tonal thing. That we've gotten stories about pirates where, you want to go off to join the pirates, or like, Treasure Island. There's like a certain side to like wanting to go along with Long John Silver. That's like part of the pirate mythology. But this is one where it plays them as like genuinely murderous and vile, while still kind of making them interesting. And there's a sort of beautiful, rough sort of humanism to that. And when I say vile, I want to point out that there is a really awful moment of using a giant jellyfish as a weapon in this film. Like, that scene is nasty. This is so, I mean, I just do not even want to talk about what they do with that jellyfish. And I would not be surprised, and I would not judge somebody if that was the point in the movie where they're like, I'm out. I'm not watching anymore. This jellyfish action, too much, not okay. Like, in my book, you tried. I sympathize. Some of us will keep going with this. Some of us will still kind of enjoy this movie, but it has some moments that are like truly disgusting.
Well, I was mentioned. I am surprised neither one of us has mentioned Jeffrey Frank. When they show up at the island, they stick like pieces of wood under his eyes to make it so that his eyes can't close. And that's an awful image to see. Like, it's so off-putting and like fucking weird, because you're like, what's going on here? Oh, they're like refusing to let him sleep. And it kind of, they go with this scene for a while, and they come back to it. You see this twice where they're doing this, but it's immediately so off-putting that I could feel like you could stop watching the movie at that point and be like, I'm out. Like, this is getting a little like, it's getting a little like rough and weird. And again, like, we talked about this throughout the month, and we mentioned it on our Roman Polanski's Pirates episode we did at the beginning. Like, I'm sorry, but pirates are fucking gross. Like, that was kind of the point that all the movies this month have missed. I mean, pirate radio obviously can be forgiven.
Different kind of thing. But
pirates are fucking nasty. Like, they're nasty. Gross. They're on the ocean. They don't bathe. They smell bad. They're like scofflaws of the highest order, and they have no problem with raping, pillaging, and murdering. Like, that's the pirate way. Why not embrace it?
Why not embrace it? So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot that's interesting going on with this. And I read a number of reviews, and for sure the tone is the big problem with this movie. People cannot hang with the tone. they're just that first 20 odd minutes gets them going on like, oh, this is going to be kind of horror, and they're expecting that from a Peter Benchley thing. And by the way, this is not just Peter Benchley as the Jaws connection. It's also Zanuck and Brown who produced, and they also produced The Deep as well. So it's like after Jaws, those guys went all in on Peter Benchley until The Island. And they're just going to knock out one after another. And I think The Deep actually was, kind of a hit, and I expected that one to be good. It has its moments, but like it's directed by Peter Medak, and so I'm like, oh, this is going to be great, and it has some moments to it, but it really gets boring. I mean, the Deep is a totally boring movie. If there's one thing about The Island, it is not boring. It is weird and crazy, and keeps getting into more and more ridiculous kind of situations, and then like after feeling comfortable enough to laugh at it for a little while, it'll spike with some violence that's like, oh no, this is not okay. This is not cute. And then it rounds out with this moment that should be the sort of tragic, in the classic like Shakespearean sense, the tragic ending to the movie, where the kid has the gun that his dad bought for him at the very beginning of the movie, and confronts Michael Caine after Caine has like murdered all the pirates with his giant machine gun, and the American flag is like rippling behind the kid's head as he points the gun practically into the camera, to shoot at Michael Caine. And it's like, go through with it, kid. You got to kill him. That's the real ending to this. That's the tragedy. That's the nightmare that this like bad father has been living. That like he's a bad dad, and his son has gone over to the dark side and is going to murder him. And that's my ending. That's the ending I want. And I think that is kind of the ending that Michael Ritchie wanted, but then they had to like do a couple more things because like there's a failure of nerve and the kid can't kill his dad. And so they got to chase around the ship and then finally kill David Warner with the Chekhov's flare gun.
Well, and I fail to understand. I mean, other than just we don't think that the audience can handle a complex or possibly quote sad ending unquote, which I get. Like I get that hesitancy there, but why tell this story if that's not going to be the payoff? Like in a lot of ways, it feels like this is the kind of story that has to have that kind of ending, and to not deliver on that ending feels like there needed to be a reassessment of why you're telling this story to begin with, if you're unwilling to commit to that ending. For sure.
Right? Yeah. No. And so it is definitely a compromise. It's a compromise that like, I will say fails the film much as I like it.
100%.
And the only reason I will permit this terrible ending is that it does not seem happy between Michael Caine and the kid when Michael Caine finally rescues him. The like looks on their faces are kind of fucked up and traumatized, and this is not going to be ultimately like a great bonding moment between father and son. And then that ridiculous thing with the helicopter, which is, like, look, these are kind of crappy saving moves to try to salvage something that's like not a good ending. So it's still not good. But I guess I appreciate the little bit of like, yeah, we wanted to end it the right way, but we can't. So here you go.
Well, and like for me, it feels like the way to end it, like you've said, if you want to kind of maybe gild the lily a little bit, and maybe, give yourself a little bit of a backdoor, is do what you were saying, have the American flag, him framed in the shot, and then you cut to black and you hear the gunshot, and that's it.
Totally.
And then you like, did he kill his dad? Did he fire in the air? You don't know. It doesn't matter. The movie doesn't give you any more than that. And you can write the ending in your own head. Like, may even just give us that. Because like, again,
Chris, I'm going to recut the movie to do that. And it's going to be the ideal version of the film. It'll be my fan edit. Just one
The Island.
The fan edit of The Island. The most absurd thing. But man, I'm really serious though. I would love to see this at like, midnight or kind of cult screenings, because I do think it has this like really strange, not totally controlled, but like dreamlike sort of tone that is rare. And okay, so I've made a case for it being intentional on Michael Ritchie's part. Maybe it's not intentional. Maybe he just fucked up. I don't give a shit. I love this tone. I love this weird, erratic, like kind of mercurial tone to this movie So if it's a mistake, I'll be the Bob Ross for the island and say it's a happy accident.
Just don't tell me it's a mistake, and I can assume that you did it on purpose. Like
exactly.
Until you say it's a mistake, it's very much intentional. Good job. Like yes, intentional.
I meant to do that. Yeah,
yeah. Well, that is the other thing about this movie. To mention Michael Ritchie. I mean, he directed Fletch, which is one of my personal favorite movies.
Totally.
And I don't know what he brings to that movie in a lot of ways, but I know what he brings to this movie because it is readily apparent that he has a very much a grasp on what he wants this movie to be. Even if it's, again, like, even if that is not imminently successful, I think he, like you said, he kind of understands where he personally wants to go with this story.
Yeah.
And yeah, there does feel like a little bit of like fighting with, maybe not with yourself, quote unquote, but the, studio or Benchley even, to fight for a different movie, because there is another movie kind of poking out through this movie that I feel like would have been a lot better. But also I think it would have been very much not like the movie was successful, but even less mainstream of a movie.
Right. Yeah.
More challenging of a movie.
Totally. I think, I think that there is a more challenging version of the movie that's like, trying to get free, and it works enough of the time that I was just surprised. I was really surprised by this movie. I did not expect this to be good at all. No, it's not as good as Jaws. However, like, I will classify Jaws as totally a Steven Spielberg movie. Totally belongs to Steven Spielberg. Stole it away from Peter Benchley. I'm going to throw down that this is the best Peter Benchley movie. This kind of captures the fucked up, wayward, bad writing spirit of Peter Benchley and turns it into something that is like kind of wonderful trash. And I don't mean that as like a so bad it's good sort of thing. This is enjoyable trash. This is like, great junk food where the flavors just coalesce in a way that, like, some hoity-toity restaurant is not going to do.
Or they just pretend that sugar, fat, and salt together don't taste good. This movie has no problem telling you that's the case.
Yeah, sugar, fat, and salt all the way.
Yeah, like, and that is the thing about this movie that I do appreciate. And like you have said, I mean, it's in a lot of ways, and I would implore people who are interested in finding this out for themselves, go read The Godfather and then watch the movie. Go read Jaws and then watch the movie. Two very different movies, two very different books, but the movies are also different from the books because The Godfather is exceedingly trashy, exceedingly trashy. But you know what? I loved it for that. Because again, it's taking the world and being as honest with it as the source material wants to be. And look, the Godfather movie has pomp and circumstance, and it's got that great score, and it's got the Godfather love theme, and all of that elevates it into this romantic idea of what the mob is. The book ain't that way at all. And Jaws the book, Hooper is plowing Brody's wife like multiple times, just giving it to her, giving her the great white. And there's none of that. And there's none of that in the movie because that doesn't jibe with Steven Spielberg. But this, Michael Ritchie clearly does not give a fuck. And I appreciate that because, Peter Benchley's stuff is not this like family story bullshit that Steven Spielberg just loves telling and will never stop telling because he loves telling stories about families. Do they have sharks? Do they have dinosaurs? Do they have the Nazis? You tell me who it is and I'll tell you what family Steven Spielberg's in. I mean, fucking War of the Worlds became the most Steven Spielberg thing ever when he turned it into a movie. Like even his stuff's one note, but he takes the multi notes of other people and boils it down. I think this works because it's not all the way boiled down into some like kind of pasteurized bullshit. Like it could have gone further in the like the column of just like, let this be weird. And again, like it is pretty weird, but it doesn't go all the way. And I wonder why Benchley chose not to end it that way, even in the book. I wonder what his reasoning would have been. Because I couldn't find him speaking to why the ending of the book is the way that it is, other than he just isn't a good enough writer to have realized that that's the ending. I'm not saying we are, but like that feels like such the obvious conclusion to this story that like, why set it up that way if you're not going to pull the trigger? No pun intended.
The book builds up more to whether the book just doesn't know what it has. The book builds up to whether Michael Caine's character is going to kill the kid or now is going to kill the kid. Like that's the sort of weird, not exactly Mexican standoff, but like that's the weird zone that it ends up in. Like, is the dad going to be able to kill his own child? And the answer, of course, is no. But that's not actually what the psychodrama of the whole thing has been, either in the book or the movie. The psychodrama is the kid going to kill the dad? Like that's it. And Benchley just sort of whiffs it and then makes it this again. Like the pirate, the pirate dies in the way that the shark does, kind of at the end of Jaws. It's like bizarre thing where David Warner's character now gets stabbed by the dad and then decides to sort of commit suicide by eviscerating him. The pirate then commits suicide by eviscerating himself, and it's like, I did not know where this comes from. This is not supported by anything that happened before. It's kind of like, I need to wrap this up. I don't know what to do with these characters. And also just has like no sense of the meaning of the whole thing. And the last couple sentences are then about like the dad and the kid kind of, coming back together. Like it's more of a genuine rescue of like the kid is grateful that his dad is there. Is sort of the ending after the pirate like pointlessly kills himself, in Jaws, the shark just kind of like floats and dies. It's really bizarre to me. Maybe Peter Benchley just needed to like see a psychotherapist who could like read some of his drafts for him and go, hey, wait a second, Freud says you got to do this. And maybe the story would have come out better.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it's such the obvious ending, or at least like the obvious scenario to put yourself in where it's even a possibility. Because in the movie, that's not really even a possibility. And we see this kid murder another human being. So we know that he can do it. I mean, in that scene on the boat with the hippie drug dealers, like he does not really hesitate.
No,
in a way that like when it got to the ending and the ending doesn't go where it's supposed to go, I was like, well, what was the point of that then? Like, what was the point of showing that like he's this, to bring up another movie that we recently did a show on, Tusk. At the end of that movie, he goes full walrus, right? And like, okay, like you have now embraced that and you have lost your humanity in the process. Like, that is what this story is supposed to be, is losing your, quote, humanity or your connection to polite society in the process of becoming a pirate. Like, like you said, like why Peter Benchley misses that. Like with Jaws, it can be forgiven. Like, a air tank in the mouth. Like that's Mythbusters said that's not happening anyways, but fine. For dramatic effect, it works in the movie. In the book and in the movie, the ending does not work. And it hurts this movie irrevocably.
Yeah, it does.
It's a shame because it makes it feel like Michael Caine gets away with being an asshole the entire movie.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. And
because I'm not rooting for him at any point in the movie, just like you said. Like, there's no point in this movie where I'm like, Michael Caine is a hero that I can like identify with. It's like, no, this guy's kind of a dickhead. Like, and he got himself into this situation. Like,
well, and it's also it's baked into Benchley's conception of the character. So I'll give Benchley points for honesty here. The character in the book is really like this journalist who's his whole thing is like, oh, I'm stuck with my kid, but I'm like really a super ambitious journalist who wants to go do this job to like break this story about the Bermuda Triangle. And clearly there's a path to just like filing the story that the editor wants and staying home and being good to his kid. But instead he's going to like drag the kid along on this like, sort of ridiculous thing to advance his career. So the character is definitely an asshole, in both. And the book sort of underlines that more. And, again, like Benchley doesn't write likable characters, which can be good. But he's not a good enough writer to make that work. Like in Jaws, when there are no likable characters, it's sort of a disaster, for that book, and makes it just kind of, vile by the end. Quint is really terrible. Matt Hooper, as you mentioned, is terrible. Brody's not even that great. And then the mayor, I love this in the book. The mayor is like involved with the mob, and the mob kills the Brody's dog and stuff. I mean, it's just, it's totally ridiculous. It's grotesque. And it's very similar in The Island. There are no likable characters, but Benchley is not the kind of writer who can make that work. It's just this question of why do you see people this way? What kind of misanthropy is this that's being brought out? But again, I think that that's great for Michael Ritchie, who has this kind of jaundiced eye, where people are fun, but they're fun by being kind of awful, like
Fletch.
Like Fletch, exactly. Or like Mathau in the Bad News Bears. He's like giving beer to the kids, and kind of only has these moments where he rises to being a proper adult when the kids are definitely wrong. It takes the kids' kind of id and lack of experience, while also while misbehaving and stuff, for Walter Matthau to kind of come around to being a decent authority figure. And that really that's like a kind of humor that's a kind of dark comedy that really works, and where Ritchie makes everybody in the Bad News Bears makes everybody likable in their kind of rangy unlikability. He doesn't quite pull off the same thing in The Island, because the character writing is just not that good. But the kid and Warner and the whole idea of joining the pirates and attacking these vessels, it's what I want from a pirate movie. And so I'm happy to be able to come on for the last of these episodes and round out Pirate Month with some real love for scruffy, distempered, unhappy, fucked up, weird, ridiculous movie.
And I'm with you. I didn't know what to expect when I picked this movie, and in a lot of ways, it's not what I was expecting. Because the moment the movie opens with these bunch of old dudes on a boat, and then they all just get diced and sliced and murdered, and it's like what is this? What? And then the next thing you see is Michael Caine going, "Almost take you to Walt Disney World," and then they don't go there and they go buy guns instead. It's what? Whatever the fuck this is, I'm on board with it, and that for me, I think is why I'm glad that you are as effusive about this movie as you have been, because it made me, through your effusiveness, enjoy the movie more than I thought I was going to enjoy talking about it, at least. I am remembering it more fondly because you have a very strong opinion about it, and I can see exactly where you're coming from, and I agree in a lot of ways. I think the problem with the movie ultimately for me is it's the best of the pirate movies I've seen this month, which in a lot of ways is damning it with faint praise, but it is a fun movie that totally deserves to be reappraised by a certain audience. I'll say that much. And look, Shout Factory re-released this in 2012. Yep. In 2011, It was an Amazon exclusive on through Universal. So it's not like this movie is not out there in the 21st century, but it's definitely not something that's getting remembered as fondly as, say, like you said, Bad News Bears or even Fletch, for that matter. Two Michael Ritchie things that are obviously a lot more well-known, or even something like The Golden Child, even those things I think get mentioned a lot more frequently than The Island. And obviously, I think the other thing about The Island is if it were anybody other than Michael Caine and it were a big name actor, I think it might get remembered a little bit more.
Maybe. Yeah.
Not fondly, because I think Michael Caine is perfect for what this is, but it might have a little bit more visibility because, again, one actor who's still working now doing weird things is fine. But if it were someone that was not known for these kinds of things, maybe it might push it in a kind of, well, this is something you need to check out, not just a Michael Caine completionist, which is probably the way this movie's been viewed for the longest time. I'm with you. It is a genuinely bizarre and fun movie that there's so many we didn't even mention the fact that at one point Michael Caine is holding out a jackfruit and his son just blows it up. And couldn't convince me they didn't actually do that. Like,
incredible. We also haven't talked about that crazy plane crash.
Oh my God. Hey, it's going to be a little bump. What the fuck are you talking about?
That does not make any sense whatsoever. And then like the pilot's reaction after his plane blows up is like, yeah, well, I guess we all survived. Like, what is this?
Brad Sullivan is the best. Just like, yeah, well, we're here now. Like, what, are you fucking serious?
What is this crazy, insane madness? It's like, it is, what the hell?
Cartoon world. That's what it is.
It is. It's a cartoon world. And like, seriously, on the page, that stuff is there. So Benchley wrote this and it's on the page, but it's even more sort of po-faced than in this movie. It's like, Benchley just thinks, oh, that's going to be fun to describe this plane crash or whatever. And it doesn't have to make any sense. Ritchie, in doing it, like, seems to recognize that this is surreal.
Right.
You know, it is.
Well, I mean, Brad Sullivan goes, hey, the landing gear's not down. It's like, the plane is landing. Like,
the plane is landing. Well, also,
his plane is feet off the ground. Feet off the ground. Off the ground.
What's also crazy about it is, like, then landed in the water. They're coming in on an island, like, you know, pull up again and like go land in the. What the hell is going on here?
He just goes, it'll just be a little bump, and it's like the plane exploded. Like,
and there's that giant pig on the plane too. I felt so bad for the pig. They like spend a moment with this gigantic freaking pig that's like absolutely like this is the kind of thing that you cut out of a movie because it doesn't make any sense. And I'm amazed that it's still there. Like, you get to the editing room and go, what does this pig have to do with anything? It has exactly nothing to do with anything in the film. And they spend a couple of moments on the pig before they take off in this plane. And then the plane explodes. And there was a part of me just like so worked up about like, oh my God, the pig like died in a fire.
It's burned up all the way.
It's burned up. Yeah. Smells like bacon on that field.
And then we haven't mentioned Zakis Moke, who shows up and I guess just kills Brad Sullivan. It's just like leaves it. He's like, hey, he'll last like a day, which is, you know, not as long as they left him out there. Probably they're like, oh well, bye.
I love him.
Yeah, this is such a strange movie, but one that, like you said, like, it's fun in a way that things just fun and discombobulated in a way that, like, if movies like this aren't allowed to come out like this anymore.
No, they're not allowed to come out. This is definitely like one of those last of the 70s, like, kind of misbegotten studio specials. You know, where just a lot of money was thrown at something that never quite makes sense, but nevertheless, I mean, I'd put it in a category with something like The Wiz, which is another like gigantic spectacle 1970s movie. I mean, I think The Wiz is objectively like a worse film, but it's a compulsively watchable movie because all these images and like this crazy music and like the miscasting of Diana Ross and like trying to, you know, all this stuff is going on in a movie like that. This is another one. And I guess we still get these kinds of films every so often, but it really is something where like bizarre tone was allowed to run free, because part of why I think of The Wiz is because like that's a movie that has some of the scariest shit in any movie ever, and I know The Wizard of Oz does as well, but there's something like distinctly unnerving about, you know, those like weird puppets in the subway, for instance, and that nobody seemed to notice that this is like really running against the overall sort of tone. And I don't know. I love these like tonal disaster area kind of movies that I think were more common like in the 70s because people took bigger swings and were just more, you know, cinema was more willing to incorporate like a bunch of weird tones. You have like great movies like Taxi Driver out of the 1970s where laugh out loud and also like utterly horrifying within the same film, but it all, you know, fits together cohesively. A movie like this doesn't fit together cohesively, but the wildness of it is something that only is possible when you can have these like masterpieces that are of, you know, such wild, differing kind of crazy tones.
Well, and it's also, I feel like now people would be apologizing for this. Like, this is unapologetic. Like, I didn't see anybody going, I'm sorry I played a pirate in the island. It's like, I had a great time. Fuck you. Like,
oh yeah, no, this movie has big fuck you energy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it totally does. Like, and if it had had the ending that it should have had, then it really would have been like a big fuck you to the kind of establishment. Like, and that's the thing. Like, it feels like the movie should have taken the establishment to task as far as possible, and it just
for sure.
And like, why not give us that? Down with the fucking man. Like, down with the man. Like, fuck him.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very down with everybody kind of movie in an interesting way that I find kind of wonderful in this 70s moment. Or like 70s turning into 80s moments. So it's like 1980. Of course, when they made this, Carter is still president, but like in 80, when it gets released, we're about to have, big election for Reagan. A lot of things have turned. And I do think that it's an artifact of that era in this weird way that, like, first the pirates attack a boat full of hippies and just like slaughter them. And there's stuff about the drugs, and that of course brings out eventually the drugs are what draws in the Coast Guard to find the pirates, and then the pirates murder the government. They take on the Coast Guard, and so it's this really interesting sort of moment of being like, no, we're like, we're fine with these like outsiders totally attacking the hippies who just a few years earlier might have been played as like really sympathetic, but in this movie they're not very sympathetic. They're ridiculous. And then later we're also going to totally attack the government, and we're going to put that big American flag behind the kid when he's pointing a gun at his dad.
I love how mean they are to the hippies in this movie. Just the one woman tries to leave and they just fucking murder her ass. Just no, don't bang, bang, bang. Like, oh, damn. Okay. Like, they're not fucking around.
And they have these little trials for people and judge them to be sinners and throw them off the boat. It's just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
I love these pirates.
No, these are the pirates that I've been waiting for all month, and they did not disappoint. I mean, again, like, frankly, I could have had a movie where there's no Michael Caine and it's just those pirates doing pirate stuff. Like,
oh, 1,000%. I mean, like, if there was to be a sequel to this movie, it should just be like this kind of band of pirates going around and attacking people in the most spectacular way.
Right, modern day weird pirates, anachronistic pirates, like.
Well,
sure.
like I just watched Swarm, and that's basically like, a serial killer who in every episode is going to find new people to kill. And I kind of loved it. And I would love a series that's like The Island with these kind of pirates. That's just like every episode they're going to find somebody to go, hijack and kill and, pillage and steal treasure and like, go crazy.
Why not? Right. Like, these are the real Pirates of the Caribbean.
These are real Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, like Amazon's got to get on it. They gotta make a series out of The Island.
I mean, again, like, I don't adapt stuff that's good or like, or mainstream good. Redo stuff that like people didn't resonate with necessarily. Because there is a story to be told here. Like, there is, like, we've talked until we're blue in the goddamn face of what the actual story is. Just because Peter Benchley didn't want to write his story the right way is not my fault or your fault. I like how that's our big takeaway is like Peter Benchley just really like fucking staring him in the face. And it's like, no, never mind. Like, whatever that is, I'm not doing it. Like, okay, dude, why?
But in a weird way, that's also that's like part of what I love about it. Like, a better writer might not have
been as this fucking insane.
Yeah. They might, like, a cooler head would have prevailed to like rein in, some of this stuff. And because
Benchley
really
added the kung fu to the script, mind
you. Did Benchley add it or did Ritchie? I don't know. I mean, I like.
Let's assume if we don't know who did it, that it's got to be one of those two. I'd like to err on the side of Benchley because he's just putting weird shit in anyway.
Just weird shit. Yeah. But the kung fu moment is just like amazing. And that, I was enjoying myself pretty well up until that moment, but it was like, at this point, this movie can do no wrong. And it like, even if it fails utterly after this, I will love this movie. And in the future, I'll watch it again up until the kung fu scene. But it keeps giving after the kung fu scene. That's definitely the high point of the film by far. The kung fu scene is where it truly becomes like the most bonkers and the most what I came for. But that said, it does not disappoint until pretty much the very end. It keeps delivering insane weirdness with this group of people that are just not what not exactly what we would normally imagine or what we would get now. And it feels so awesome and freeing to have this kind of this sort of bad writing taken seriously by technicians who can deliver, like Michael Ritchie and this like group of filmmakers can actually deliver on this really crappy book script story. And that's there's something wonderful about that.
Well, and as someone who reads a lot, as I'm sure you do, like I love a good just like paperback, like I like a good, like I read Brad Meltzer last year, Book of Secrets. There is no Book of Secrets in the book, which is the funniest part. But it was the most bombastic, weirdest book I've ever read, because it does nothing, says nothing, and it's like each chapter is like maybe 5 pages, but it's just like constantly moving and doing things and like just throwing weird shit at you constantly and like not waiting for you to go, oh, this is strange. It's like bombarding you with stuff. And like in a lot of ways, it's a testament to like the attention span of people now, and like go, constantly need to see and be entertained. But I am a fan of that. And Peter Benchley very much is in that same camp of like just writing entertainment, the quality be damned. Like, he's not Michael Crichton, okay? Like Michael Crichton was entertaining, but also could write. Like,
yes. Yeah. No, Michael Crichton's like a great hack writer. Really
for real. Like the greatest hack writer of all time, I think, is Michael Crichton. Like he elevates premises that were paperback premises to a movie that Steven Spielberg could direct.
Yes.
Which, I mean, draw the parallel to Jaws.
But I gotta say, so you got me into Jurassic Park now, but I am, and I guess for our listeners, so they kind of have a sense of where I'm coming from, I will say that the absolute best of the Jurassic Park movies is The Lost World, because it is the craziest, meanest, most sadistic of all those movies. And absolutely 1000% when Jeff Goldblum's daughter defeats dinosaurs with gymnastics. This is brilliant cinema. I will not take any argument about it. You're wrong if you think that that's bad. That is objectively great and amazing. And this is the kind of astonishment that we deserve.
I am a little disappointed that you are not going to bat for the third Jurassic Park movie, which has the best scene in any Jurassic Park movie. And I would like to preface my explanation of that scene with one word.
Go for it.
Alan. The talking velociraptor in Jurassic Park 3 is like, it existed to be in the trailer. It existed to be a weird little thing in the movie, but it makes no sense. And no place in any Jurassic Park movie does a talking dinosaur need to exist. But apparently we got it.
I'm there with you in spirit, but it's just Spielberg is so much more sadistic than Joe Johnston. And when Spielberg is let loose with because this comes up in Spielberg's films. I mean, like when people were surprised that the opening of Saving Private Ryan was like so horrifying, I was like, did you not watch Temple of Doom? Did you not watch Jurassic Park 2? Like, this guy he can be really, really nasty. I mean, there's part of what's great about Jaws is that as much as it's a family thing, that movie is nasty in a couple of moments. Like when that kid gets eaten by the shark, that is gnarly. That is like not fucking around and is a genuinely upsetting kind of like horrifying thing. Spielberg can definitely be sadistic, and the gleeful sadism delivered with like all the Spielberg panache is great. But I am also here for Jurassic Park 3, and I'm a believer in any movie where dinosaurs eat people. So
I'm with you. I do love the second one. I mean, the second one for me, like I love everything about the first 2 movies. I'll be perfectly honest. Like all the promotional stuff and just the color schemes of the movies and everything about those first 2 movies. Just like I was the right place at the right time, the right age. But yeah, man, like those premises of those books are pretty schlocky, and Michael Crichton is just better enough than Peter Benchley. But like
exactly, and
I don't think of Michael Crichton as like a great writer. I think of him as a guy who has really fun ideas.
Yes.
Like Timeline. Like go read that book. Tell me that the movie isn't a pretty good approximation of the book. Because the movie's not great, but neither is the book. Like, it's not a serious work of fiction, motherfuckers. Like, they travel back in time and fight in medieval knights. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you really want here? Well,
so while we're on the supermarket paperbacks, I'm just going to throw out that I wish that there was an equivalent of The Island for a V.C. Andrews novel, because like that trash is so delicious and so ready for cinema, but there has never been a Flowers in the Attic movie or anything that like came close to like delivering on the, ridiculous, dreamlike, fucked up incest porn promise of that trashy paperback series that like, teenage girls throughout the 70s and 80s all carried around in their backpacks to school.
I have never heard of this book you were talking about.
Oh my God. There's a whole world of them. And like, I never read any of them until just like the last year. And I read them for research for a project that I'm trying to write. We'll see where it goes. But they were this thing that like these older cousins of mine when I was like a little kid carried around, and they had there are these paperbacks that have little windows in the cover. So there's like a picture of a house with a window, and then but it's like a literal window. So you open it up, there's a hole in the cover to like then show a picture of these like sad, weird kids, inside. And at any rate, there are these like gothic novels for like sullen teens. They're really trashy and gross. They were a huge hit, and all these like teenage girls read them, and like I had this fascination with them because basically every teenage girl that I had a crush on from the age of 8 to like 19 at some point carried around V.C. Andrews novel, and it was like those books became this kind of like weird siren song to me.
Interesting.
So they're like, they were popular with teenagers, but they're not appropriate. Like they're sort of very much like Peter Benchley is just going to go to weird, grody places, in a story that's just supposed to be about a shark and defending a town from a shark. He's got to do like, ridiculous kind of, gross sex between Chief Brody's wife and Matt Hooper. Similarly, these V.C. Andrews novels just are like a little too gross with these stories about, children locked in an attic together, by family members, and like the naughty things that they get up to. Really, really gnarly. But it's a kind of supermarket pulp that I think Benchley is in that category. And I think he was lucky enough to, one, of course, get Jaws, which hit the jackpot. You get one of the greatest American movies of all time made out of your dumbass novel. And then The Island actually captures the sort of supermarket paperback, like sleazy, gnarly, tonally obtuse, kind of spirit, and just delivers the goods cinematically. A much better movie than book. But in the way that the movie is better, it also captures the book, whereas the movie of Jaws leaves everything in the book behind.
Well, and I was going to say, like, when I think about Jaws, like, it really is like the McRib of movies. The source material is fine, but like the product on the other end is like barely recognizable to what it was meant to be. Like,
yeah.
That movie is so different, but so much elevated beyond where like Hog Slop deserved to be. I'm not saying the book is Hog Slop, but like compared to the way the movie's talked about, though, like Jaws is considered like an American classic. Like nobody talks about the book. Nobody's talking about the book ever. Like some people probably even forget that it is a book. Like,
yeah, probably.
Like Spielberg does what Spielberg does way too well. Like in a lot of ways, like Jurassic Park, the book is good. Jurassic Park, the movie is good. They're not very good versions of one another, but because it's Steven Spielberg, it's good on its own.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's what it is. Like Peter Benchley and Michael Crichton both really lucked out. Let's just put it that way. I would love if Steven Spielberg adapted my book. I mean, the whatchamajiggy, the other guy tried, and Steven Spielberg couldn't work the magic for a third time. The what's the dude? The Ready Player One, Ernest Cline.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he can work his magic up into a point, but now that's some hog slop. Sorry, I have very strong opinions about that book.
I couldn't read it. I have somebody told me about it and I was so repulsed.
Pop culture Tourette's doesn't excite you?
Yeah, I mean I don't have that many limits, but like Ready Player One is one of my limits, and like The Human Centipede is another, where it's just like all I have to know is the premise and I'm out. Oh,
that's fair. That's very fair. Two very different sides of the coin, but fair nonetheless. So, Spencer, final thoughts on Peter Benchley's The Island.
I love it. I love it. It's ridiculous. It is not a good movie, but it's a lovable movie. It is not a bad movie. But it is a very weird, exciting, like this is the thing that we talk about when we talk about cult films. Like, I love The Princess Bride as much as The Next Guy, whatever, but like that's not a cult movie, and it kind of gets treated as a sort of cult movie sometimes, but this is the kind of like this is like a real like old school kind of cult film before people tried to make them cult right out of the gate, or before we called certain movies sort of cult because they didn't make much money initially and then became like big sorts of classics. This is a real cult film is a little bit broken. So like to go back to something like The Princess Bride, that's like a really perfected film. It's beautiful. It's great. It has like to the degree that it has a sort of cultish devotion that people have given to it. Awesome. I feel kind of the same about a movie like Harold and Maude. Like that's not a broken film. That's it has a darkness to it that makes it not necessarily to everybody's taste. And it had a cult in that it opened poorly and then eventually ended up in like this Minnesota theater for a really, really long time. But The Island is something a little bit more into the true crazy cult zone of a movie that's flawed and broken, but the flaws and the brokenness about it actually are what make it like really, really exciting. For that matter, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that's another that has a certain kind of cult for the performance and everything. But as a film, I think it's actually like kind of too good in a way. Like a really, really great cult film has to be broken. And so that's the basis of my love for The Island. It's an island of misfit toys, and I'm here for it.
No, I agree with you. I feel like the term cult movie gets thrown around a lot, and this movie is ripe for reappraisal. And I think a lot of people would resonate with the weirdness of this movie. And again, Michael Caine's career being what it is, and him being kind of a meme. I mean, anybody who can have an impersonation done of them is memeable, or at least mimetic to most people. So, totally. Michael Caine, I think being in this movie should bring more eyes to it. But I think, this is a movie that is a lot more fun than I was expecting. And it goes places that I wasn't expecting. And that yields up a tone that is all over the place. And I think you're right. Tonally problematic movies. And again, tonally problematic based on Western film practices.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Like any of those movies tend to have a different audience that's willing to or wanting to ignore the genre conventions of whatever cinema you happen to be a part of. So I'm with you. This movie was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I wish it had ended differently, but ultimately by the end of it, I was having a good time. And I think, is everybody on screen having a good time? I don't know, but the performances seem to be committing 100%, and I can't say anything but praise for pretty much everything but the ending for this movie, because it's a weird movie and it doesn't really work in parts, but it works enough that I had a good time. And hey, watching a child murder an adult right after a guy fights a bunch of pirates using kung fu, I can't do nothing wrong with that.
And now frig has entered my lexicon.
Frig. I think that's, I mean, like, we barely even mentioned it, but there's like a whole language they created. This movie's just, there's a lot going on. So
there's a lot.
Check it out for sure. If you're on the fence, it is, you will definitely have fun, at least, which, in this day and age, like, having fun is like 3/4 of the battle. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So on that note, let's take a break and we'll play a preview for the next Culture Cast.
I got my feet on both sides of the fence. I planted them there a long time ago.
Sometimes I see a look come into your eyes, Lou. I can't explain it. It's like something terrible is happening to you deep down inside.
All I can do is wait until I split right down the middle. Schizophrenia. Acute, advanced, incurable. Don't say I'm not that kind of guy, because you just don't know.
Within the mind of this man, within your mind, lurks an evil, screaming to be set free.
Are you all right?
Stacy Keach in The Killer Inside Me.
So that's right. On the next Culture Cast, we're going to be taking a look at a movie that comes from a book, because all the Culture Cast next month are movies based off of books. We're going to be talking about the adaptation of Jim Thompson's The Killer Inside. Not the Casey Affleck one, though.
Oh.
Talking about the Stacy Keach one from... I know that the Casey Affleck one is not very good, and I've watched parts of it, and I have no interest in watching Casey Affleck. So I don't have any interest in watching Ben Affleck either. It's an Affleck thing. So we'll be talking about The Killer Inside Me. Until then, Spencer, where can people find you if they were looking for you around the internet?
Well, I guess until I am not and never will be verified on Twitter. But that flaming dumpster fire that still goes on, you can find me there at Spencer_Parsons, where I'm going by Zalman King, because I might as well, because Zalman King's not alive to complain, and I am unverified.
You don't want to pay to get verified?
The big benefit. The big benefit that Elon Musk is now offering for getting verified is like, only if you're verified will you get For You, and it's like nobody likes For You. I'm cheering. I was like, yeah, no, of course not now. Like, I don't want that cluttering up. I don't want that For You column anymore. Like, please take that away.
Oh, he's a smart businessman. He's much smarter than the rest of us. Okay, like he knows what he's doing. He's running Twitter into the ground intentionally. We swear. Wink, wink. God, I fucking hate social media. So good on you for mentioning it, but I'm not going to. You can find me at weirdingwaymedia.com, where this show and all the other shows I work on can be found. So that's where you should go for that. As for this show, culturecast.com, patreon.com, like, rate, and review the show. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. And I just did. Spencer, thank you so much for joining me. It's a blast as always.
Thank you. So much fun. I'm glad I got to see this movie.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that you thought this was something else too. I'm glad that I didn't even comment on that, but I'm so glad you were like, I think this is going to be one thing, and it is not that. I love that, and that you enjoyed this. I feel like is just, that's icing on the cake for me. So
it certainly was for me too.
Yeah. So as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.